Good job, Ann.
Thank you, Ann.
You're very welcome.
Our inspirational reading this morning, I'm taking from one of the pink books, Everlasting Peace. The pink books are channel messages from the present Jesus, and they're published by a group called the Brotherhood of the Followers of the Present Jesus. And Jesus says, "Children of God, I call you up into peace. For everyone truly seeks peace above all other things. For it is their true nature to be at peace. And this true state and vibration we will always seek. I give you this theme, everlasting peace. For peace itself is a state outside of time, outside of motion, as you know it, outside of change, as you know it. For the man of earth lives on many levels, and higher levels of himself feed into his physical state of living their treasures. True and pure peace is a vibration so fine, man can only seek a drop at a time in his earthly mind, and only by truly opening himself to the finer levels of God can he even begin to grasp the meaning of peace. But this can be given to him as a gift through the Christ, and to the children of men I can channel this through. Our speaker this morning is a longtime member and minister with the teaching of the inner Christ. She's a retired college professor. I think of her as our international minister because she was born not in America but in Germany and immigrated here. And she always has a wonderful message for us. So let's welcome this morning, speaking on embracing our peaceful beginnings, Reverend Brigitte Heimers.
Thank you, Reverend Richard. Good morning.
Good morning.
And Happy New Year.
Thank you.
Embracing our peaceful beginnings. This, as you have heard, our theme for this first month of the new year is creating peace. When we embrace, we are moved into action. We are shifting gears. And to include Webster's definition, I quote, we are reaching out, we are clasping in our arms, we take in hand, we adopt, we receive readily, we welcome, cherish, and love. Notice that we are the ones who need to do the embracing. We are the ones who move forward into newness, into uncharted territory. And we are doing it peacefully, with courage, and I would say with tremendous help from our inner Christs, our Christ selves, or I am selves. And here is a message from our pink book, The Heart of God, as Reverend Richard said, these are channeled messages from a group of sensitives here. And on page 12, Jesus says, open your mind to new beginnings in your own life. It may not be immediately apparent to you, but there are many types of new beginnings. A new beginning may be a change in your vibrations, some alteration of thought patterns into new, more enlightened ones. A new beginning may be the further releasing of some old hurts or misconceptions. And of course, it goes on to say also, whatever the new beginning is for you, Spirit is with you to guide your steps into the new beginnings. Not only the step into, but the steps of the change. Be aware of areas where your awareness seems to expand, allowing Spirit to work more easily through you, with less conscious effort on your part. And as you speak to others, feel how Spirit is working through you to bring peace, harmony, and love to those around you. Speaking of release, we also took the first step, of course, on December 31st during our releasing service, when we let go of anything we no longer desired in our life. And along with the piece of paper that was shredded, that afternoon we released any fears of worries and accepted the love of God within us. We accepted the power of God to explore new horizons, to look at alternatives, to be aware of and refreshed by the diversity in life. And as we move through every day of this brand new year, it is okay to begin anew with an open mind and heart. The good news we receive with an open mind and heart is that we are never stuck in one job, one place, or one situation. With God as our guide, we have choices. Divine wisdom guides us in choosing positive, life-affirming alternatives. Knowing we can make choices, we want to refrain from any tendency to look at our day with limiting vision. I call it tunnel vision. As we scan the horizon that God opens to us, we consider alternatives that invite us to use our talents, our abilities in new ways. What may have seemed unusual is revealed to be a blessed alternative. God's way is our way, as we surrender to the safety and serenity of the infinite Spirit within us. To feel okay, beginning again and again, invites our willingness to change. And change is an opportunity for me to experience also new adventures. When I'm going through any kind of change, I help myself adjust by remembering the familiar saying that a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. So I think of change in single steps, one day at a time, rather than in a whole course of events. I'm confident, for God is constantly guiding me and giving me the inner strength I need to face change with a sense of adventure. And I return now to some of my experiences way back. My first big adventure was at age 21. When I left the comfort and security of my parents' house in East Germany to go to Düsseldorf in West Germany. It was a sort of escape which I had to prepare very carefully and with a lot of prayer. In those days, as you probably might know or remember, a young person in East Germany had no legal means of changing one's residence from East to West Germany. There was this big border. And of course, East Germany was ruled by communistic rules. You know, the Soviet Union was our, quote, big brother. So therefore, I sneaked away via Berlin. Berlin was a city that had 4 different sectors. 3 of them were West German oriented, and 1 was East German. So you arrived, of course, in the eastern part of Berlin. And so it was, I needed to have the help of some good friends who would, you know, coach me also as to how to do this. And 2 things were most assuring to me at that time. The first point was, I had my sister in Hanover, who also escaped to West Germany several years ago. And the second point was, I still spoke the same language. Beginning anew, I still remember the first adjustments to that new environment. Because as quickly as possible, I eliminated all my wardrobe, which I had brought with me from East Germany. You know, in East Germany we didn't have the very fashionable things that were available in West Germany. So you didn't want to be a black sheep in West Germany. And so I purchased West German clothing, which gave me a wonderful feeling of change, a great peaceful feeling of a new beginning. And of course, as we know, and we have a song, change is part of new beginnings. So change can lead into somewhat familiar, but it can also lead into the unknown. So either way, change indicates a movement, an action taken. And in truth, nothing happens without change. Do you believe that is true?
Yeah.
If we are not willing to want to take a step into the unknown, we're not moving forward, it seems to me. So I'm sure each one of us has experienced both aspects in some way, the familiar and the unknown. It seems that every beginning is filled with mixed emotions. Emotions of joy and fear of the unknown. It is good when we acknowledge these feelings. Yet let us know that God is ever present in each and every part of our life and the lives of all living things. So for me, it is good to know that God is right where I am and is guiding me through this new adventure. And He's guiding me with love, with peace and joy. So it makes it easier to release any fears or worries and accept the love of God and surrender to the safety and serenity of the Infinite Spirit. So this is, however, something that one needs to work at. It isn't happening immediately. So my greatest jump into the unknown was the time when I left West Germany in 1960 to come to this country. I had no idea how beautiful my new physical environment was going to be. Almost permanent sunshine. That was the first thing I noticed in August when I came here. The ocean, the mountains nearby, the vegetation, all these beautiful flowers. But it also meant social change. First of all, I had to rely on my English, which I had learned 10 long years in Germany. However, I needed to begin anew by changing from my familiar British English that I had learned to the American English spoken everywhere in this country. And so I took classes right from the beginning. I was surprised how many different words were having a different connotation. Now, after arriving in New York by ship, I went from Rotterdam, from Holland, and I boarded the plane to San Diego in New York. And here I experienced the greatest shock. The stewardess on board evidently greeted me, and she said hi, and I had no idea what she said. Because I was only familiar with the word hello. So I dared to smile, because that's usually a good thing, you smile. I don't know exactly. So I dared to smile back, and I used my familiar hello. I had no idea also where my educational activities would lead me, as I embraced peacefully my new beginnings, which helped me to earn the degrees that were accepted here. I had, of course, a business degree from Germany, but nobody here in those days, 1960, was able to evaluate that this was graduate work. So I earned, these regular degrees, the bachelor's and the master's, and finally I went to Riverside for my doctorate, the PhD in this country, so to be legitimate. So my relationship with God through TIC connected me to my I am self by name and vibration. And this created a vast new level of spiritual awareness. In other words, I climbed another ladder in my spiritual quest to serve as a minister for the teaching. I always had listened to what I called my small inner voice, but now, to my surprise, there was a name to it and also a vibration. So in many ways, the teaching of the inner Christ put a handle on many aspects of my spiritual quest, helped me organize it better, made it more complete, clarified my true desires in the areas of shepherding. I knew what a shepherd was, but we have, special meaning, shepherding, ministering, serving, healing, and many other avenues opened up for me. So I know that peaceful beginnings are a necessary part of life, but we also need to be okay with them. For the okay part, I rely on God within to show me the peaceful beginnings that make a positive difference in my life and in the life of those around me. However, change must take place in our thoughts first before it can be experienced in our outer world. So there's work for each one of us to do. So in our outer world, a few days ago, I had a vision. It was a wonderful vision. It was a vision about the world. And I saw many circles within a large circle, indicating to me the complexity within all of creation. Bless you. The large circle representing God's wide world, for God is everywhere in this world. And the interesting configuration was, however, that each of the small circles overlapped. They overlapped, that means they were not isolated. They overlapped, so there was always a piece in each circle that was a part of the other circle. So the new spaces created by the overlapping indicated to me the areas of communality, which are in need of nurturing. What do we have in common with other people, regardless where they come from, what language they speak, what background they have. So we agree that God is the source of all the varieties of creation, and perhaps at some level we truly mean that the source of all the varieties of creation is God. But it seems at times to act as if this were not true, since we at times criticize, we still are working with that word criticize, right? So at times we criticize that which is different from ourselves and perhaps avoid what we are not accustomed to. Anybody can relate to that? Yeah. It takes time, to work all of these things in. And I want to close with another pink book. I love this one, as you know. It's called The Dawning of the Age of Light. This is my favorite pink book. And on page 26, it says, what does it say? Life is meant for joy. Accept joy, live it, and spread it. For ages, many people have been somber about their beliefs. Now it is time to give over and be joyful. Feel the beautiful sense of joy, which is being poured into you now. Live with it. Jesus asks us to do that. Work with it. Play with it. Rest in it. Absorb it. Allow it to fulfill your being. All things are done more easily when we are joyful. I think you agree with that. Even when we clean our house, if we have a song in our thoughts, it goes faster, it seems to me. So, thank you for listening this morning to what I have to share with you. And again, Happy New Year.
Thank you, Reverend Brigitte.
Yeah, well.